The center court crowd had just witnessed the impossible. The defending champion was gone. A 21-year-old from the Philippines had done what no one thought possible. And then, something happened that left everyone speechless. Not just the result, but the moment cameras captured that no one could stop watching. Iga Swiatek had just been dismantled in straight sets. The six-time Grand Slam champion walked off center court with her Wimbledon reign in ruins, 44 unforced errors telling the story of a champion who had lost her way. But as the crowd rose to its feet, the cameras zoomed in on one woman, Alexandra Eala. What happened next wasn't just a victory celebration. It was a moment that would be replayed millions of times across the globe. Tears streaming down her face, the 21-year-old from Quezon City spoke words that would break the internet and leave fans everywhere fighting back tears of their own. Is this the viral moment that will define Wimbledon 2026? Or just the first chapter in a story that's only just beginning? The roar of center court was deafening. The sea of red, white, and blue had turned the most iconic stadium in tennis into a home away from home. And at the center of it all stood Alexandra Eala, a 21-year-old from Quezon City who was about to deliver the performance of a lifetime. An hour earlier, the women's draw had been shaken when second seed Elena Rybakina fell to Elise Mertens. But that was just the opening act. Now, the defending champion herself was walking onto center court, and the tennis world was about to witness something extraordinary. From the very first point, it was clear this would be no ordinary match. Eala, the 29th seed, came out fearless. She had already proven she could beat Swiatek before, in the Miami Open quarterfinals of 2025, a victory that transformed her profile and made her a national sporting sensation. But this was different. This was center court. This was Wimbledon. This was the defending champion. Swiatek struck first, breaking for a 2-1 lead. The center court crowd, packed on Filipino flags, held its breath. But Eala refused to break. She broke right back, showing off her tactical acumen with a high moonball return and an angled pass. Superb returning enabled Eala to break again for 5-3, where she held her first set point. But Swiatek, the champion she was, locked in and produced 3 consecutive forehand winners to escape and level at 5-5. The momentum swung back and forth like a pendulum. Both players refused to give an inch. Swiatek squandered a breakpoint for 6-5 with a missed return, and the set headed to a tiebreak. And what a tiebreak it was. Eala built a 5-2 lead, courtesy of relentless returning. The center court crowd roared. The Filipino fans were on their feet. But Swiatek, as champions do, clawed her way back with a 4-point run to reach set point. Eala saved that with an unreturned serve. She saved another as Swiatek netted a forehand. And finally, on her 4th set point, Eala sealed it as Swiatek mishit a forehand long. The first set was hers. 84 minutes of tennis that would be remembered for generations. The opening set of Eala's win was an instant classic, the WTA would later write. Momentum swung back and forth between the two competitors as each responded to the other by raising their game. Swiatek smiled at the end of the set, but it was a smile of disbelief. She was soon shouting at her entourage in the stands. She slammed her racket on a chair. The defending champion was rattled. Eala, meanwhile, soaked up the roaring applause from a thoroughly entertained crowd. She gestured for more noise. She was in her element. She was where she belonged. The second set was pure dominance. Eala pressed her foot to the floor and never let up. She broke early, raced to 4-0 and never looked back. Swiatek's quality dipped in and out. She rescued one of the breaks and gave it away in the next game. She finished the match with 44 unforced errors and 5 double faults to just 1 ace. Eala served for the match. Swiatek put her under pressure, saving the first 2 match points. But Eala was the braver of the pair on the break points. On her 3rd match point, she delivered the knockout blow, a forehand winner that sealed the victory. She threw herself to the ground and covered her face with her hands. The tears flowed. The crowd erupted. History had been made. Eala had become the first player from the Philippines to reach the 4th round of a Grand Slam in the Open era. She had improved her record against Swiatek to 2-1. She had notched her 7th career top 10 win. And she had sent a message to the entire tennis world. The second set was already slipping away from Iga Swiatek. Eala had broken early, racing to a 3-0 lead. The center court crowd was in a frenzy. The sea of red, white, and blue was waving. And then, in the 4th game of the set, something happened that would be replayed millions of times across the globe. A moment so extraordinary that it would define Wimbledon 2026 long after the tournament ended. Eala served. She lost her footing and fell to the grass. The ball came back across the net, and what she did next left commentators speechless. Crawling forward on her hands and knees, she extended her left arm, somehow making contact with the ball while lying flat on the ground. She sent it back to Swiatek, all while her body was horizontal on the grass. The commentators were in awe. Ann Keothavong and Joe Dury, calling the match, could barely process what they had just witnessed. "Not sure that I've ever seen that on the tennis court," one of them said. "She's a gymnast," the other exclaimed. "The horizontal forehand. What skill," they added. The point eventually went to Swiatek. Eala couldn't answer after she scrambled back to her feet. But it didn't matter. The damage was done. The image of a 21-year-old Filipina diving across the grass, refusing to let a single point die, had already been seared into the minds of everyone watching. Within hours, photos of Eala's horizontal forehand were everywhere. The Tennis Channel posted images with the caption, "These photos of Alex Eala go hard." Wimbledon itself joined the buzz, sharing the video with the message, "Never give up on a point. We're not over this horizontal forehand," from Alexandra Eala. Fans and photographers captured the moment perfectly. One tennis photographer wrote, "Whatever the Tagalog word for quit is, it sure isn't in Alex's personal vocabulary." Another fan likened the moment to Chicago Bulls legend Dennis Rodman diving for a loose ball. "Tennis Rodman," they quipped. The images showed a player who was willing to sacrifice her body for a single point. A player who refused to give up, even when she was flat on the grass. A player who embodied the very spirit of the sport. Senator Francis Escudero, speaking for the Philippines, captured the nation's sentiment. "This photo says it all," he said. "Alex Eala, you just rewrote what's possible for every Filipino who ever picked up a racket. At Wimbledon, you broke a ceiling no Filipino has ever touched, and you did it with heart, grit, and grace." But the horizontal forehand was just the beginning. The tears that followed would break the internet even more. The horizontal forehand had broken the internet. But what came next would break hearts around the world. Eala had thrown herself to the ground after converting her third match point. She had covered her face with her hands. The tears flowed freely. The center court crowd, still processing what they had just witnessed, rose to its feet in a standing ovation. The sea of red, white, and blue was a blur of celebration and emotion. And then, the cameras found her voice. The on-court interviewer approached, microphone in hand. Eala was still catching her breath, still wiping tears from her cheeks. The question was simple: what does this mean to you? What followed was a moment that would be replayed millions of times across the globe, a moment so raw, so honest, so deeply human that it left everyone watching speechless. "I don't know how to describe it," she said, her voice trembling. "I mean, I'm into the second week of a slam and it's amazing for me." She paused. The tears threatened to spill over again. And then, she spoke words that would become an anthem for millions. "I went to train every day after school with my ruffled socks, light-up shoes, and chubby cheeks. To younger me, this is everything." The center court crowd erupted. The cameras zoomed in on faces in the stands, fans weeping, families embracing, strangers sharing a moment of collective emotion. The girl who had once trained on a makeshift court painted over a basketball court in the Philippines was now standing on the most iconic court in tennis. Her dream realized, her tears flowing freely. Maybe for someone like Iga, who has won so many slams, or maybe someone like Serena or Venus, this achievement may seem small, she continued. But for someone who grew up in the Philippines, for her, this is everything. The interviewer asked about her countrymen, about the thousands of Filipino fans who had traveled across the globe to witness history, about the millions watching back home, many of whom had stayed up late into the night to see their hero. "It's incredible to have my countrymen cheering me on and knowing that we're all in this together," Eala said. "This goes out to them, this goes out to my family, this goes out to all the little girls with ruffled socks and chubby cheeks. It means the world." She spoke of center court itself, the court she had dreamed of since she was a child. "This is my dream court," she said. "How many times have I dreamed of opportunities like this? Being here is a blessing. I worked super hard to get here, and I'm taking it. If I have the chance, I'm taking it. I think at the end of the match, my legs just kind of buckled," she later told the Tennis Channel. "They weren't working anymore. And yeah, it was an overwhelming wave of emotions." The tears on center court were not tears of weakness. They were tears of a journey realized, tears of a dream fulfilled, tears that told the story of a 21-year-old who had refused to stop believing. And when she finally regained her composure, she delivered the words that would define her Wimbledon campaign, words that revealed the fire burning beneath the tears. "Just because I'm emotional doesn't mean I'm satisfied," she said.
"Okay, next round. Let's go."
The center court crowd erupted once more. The tears had dried, the warrior had returned, and Alex Eala was already looking ahead. The final point had barely landed when the Philippines exploded. Not in the stands of center court, where the sea of red, white, and blue had already erupted. Not in the bars and living rooms across Manila, where viewing parties had turned into celebrations, but everywhere, all at once. A nation of 115 million people, united in a single moment of pride. Tears, goosebumps, shrieks of joy, explosions of applause. These were the shared reactions across the Philippines when Alex Eala defeated the reigning Wimbledon champion. "I am crying with jubilation," read one comment on social media. "Thank you, Lord God, this is for the Philippines' pride." The reaction came from the highest office in the land. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., who was in Vancouver, Canada at the time, watched the final set early Saturday morning. When he addressed reporters, his voice carried the weight of a nation. "Biruin mo, mayroon na tayong player babay pa na nanalo sa third round in Wimbledon," he said. Tennis does not operate at a higher level than Wimbledon, So she's really world class.
She's terrific.
He recalled his prediction when she first started winning. I said she's just getting started. Well, you can see, turns out I was right. She's just getting started. Then came the words that would resonate across the nation. Congratulations, Alex. Keep it up. We'll all be here. The whole Filipino nation is cheering you on. We know that you are fighting for making proud and bringing luster and honor to the Philippines. Keep going, keep going, keep going. We are behind you. The sentiment was echoed by leaders across the political spectrum. Senator Panfilo Lacson called Eala a unifier of a deeply divided nation. Senator Francis Escudero, speaking for the Philippines, captured the nation's sentiment. This photo says it all. Alex Eala, you just rewrote what's possible for every Filipino who ever picked up a racket. At Wimbledon, you broke a ceiling no Filipino has ever touched, and you did it with heart, grit, and grace. In the entertainment world, the celebration was just as fervent. Ia Villania praised Eala's character. Aside from your skill, your character is something we're the proudest of. We all love you, Alex. Ogie Alcacid commended her grit, humble confidence, and undeniable grace, adding, Totu ang iyong paniwala na kapag lumago hindi nahihinto, true is your belief that once it grows, it cannot be stopped. Kuya Kim Atienza admitted he found himself crying at 6 a.m. because of her emotional win. Celebrity supporters included Isabel Daza, Rajo Laurel, Liza Soberano, and Gabby Garcia. In the stands of center court, the scene was just as electric. Thousands of Filipinos had filled the iconic stadium, waving red, yellow, and blue national flags, and injecting uniquely Filipino humor into the most prestigious tournament in tennis. One sign read, Do it for the Caracar, a rich Filipino oxtail and peanut stew that Eala had mentioned in a viral TikTok video. A country obsessed with boxing and basketball had found a new hero. And for one unforgettable moment, the Philippines was united. Not by politics, not by division, but by a 21-year-old with ruffled socks, light-up shoes, and a dream that had taken her all the way to center court. The tears had dried, the celebrations had begun, but the legacy of what Alex Eala had achieved was only just beginning to take shape. In the hours following her historic victory, the messages poured in from every corner of the globe. Billie Jean King praised her. Venus Williams celebrated her. Manny Pacquiao expressed his pride. The president of the Philippines called her world-class. But it was Eala's own words that would resonate longest. Words that revealed not just a champion, but a young woman who understood the weight of her journey. I went to train every day after school, with my ruffled socks, light-up shoes, and chubby cheeks. To younger me, this is everything. Those words became an anthem. They were shared thousands of times across social media. They were quoted in newspapers. They were repeated by parents to their children, by coaches to their players, by dreamers to themselves. They captured something universal. The idea that the person you were as a child is still with you, and that every achievement is a gift to that younger version of yourself. But Eala's vision extended far beyond her own journey. When asked what she hoped her success would mean for the next generation, she delivered words that would define her legacy. I hope they have bigger dreams than winning a Grand Slam, she said. I don't want them to be the next me. I want them to be the first them. The words were simple, profound, and they revealed a young woman who understood that true greatness isn't about being copied. It's about inspiring others to find their own path. I want to inspire a generation of Filipinos to just dream bigger, she continued. It doesn't have to be tennis. It can be whatever you want to do. But if I can be even a little part of that, then that's all I can ask for. The impact was already being felt. In the Philippines, tennis courts that had once sat empty were suddenly filled with children holding rackets. Parents who had never watched tennis were now glued to their screens. A nation that had once looked to boxing and basketball for heroes had found a new source of pride. One fan captured the sentiment perfectly. She's showing us that winning isn't just about trophies. It's about what you do with them. And what Eala planned to do with her platform was already becoming clear. She spoke of giving back to her country, of building courts, of creating opportunities for the next generation of Filipino athletes, of ensuring that the journey she had taken would not be the last of its kind. I think I'm just really happy that I'm able to break this barrier, she said. And I hope that in the future, the next generation won't have to break it, because I broke it. It's already going to be there for them. The horizontal forehand would be replayed millions of times. The tears on center court would be remembered for generations. But it was Eala's words, her vision, her humility, her refusal to be satisfied, that would leave the deepest mark. Just because I'm emotional doesn't mean I'm satisfied, she had said. Okay, next round, let's go. The warrior had spoken, the dreamer had arrived, and the legacy of Alex Eala was only just beginning. The center court crowd had just witnessed the impossible. The defending champion was gone. A 21-year-old from the Philippines had done what no one thought possible. And then, something happened that left everyone speechless. Not just the result, but the moment cameras captured that no one could stop watching. Iga Swiatek had just been dismantled in straight sets. The six-time Grand Slam champion walked off center court with her Wimbledon reign in ruins. 44 unforced errors telling the story of a champion who had lost her way. But as the crowd rose to its feet, the camera zoomed in on one woman, Alexandra Eala. What happened next wasn't just a victory celebration. It was a moment that would be replayed millions of times across the globe. The horizontal forehand that broke the internet. The tears streaming down her face. The words that would inspire millions. I went to train every day after school with my ruffled socks, light-up shoes, and chubby cheeks. To younger me, this is everything. Eala had become the first player from the Philippines to reach the 4th round of a Grand Slam in the Open era. She had improved her record against Swiatek to 2-1. She had notched her 7th career top 10 win, and she had sent a message to the entire tennis world. But it was her words after the match that would define her legacy. I hope they have bigger dreams than winning a Grand Slam, she said of the next generation. I don't want them to be the next me. I want them to be the first them. The Philippines had erupted. The world had taken notice, and Alex Eala had proven that the Eala effect was no longer just a phenomenon. It was a force that would shape the future of tennis. Just because I'm emotional doesn't mean I'm satisfied, she said. Okay, next round. Let's go. The warrior had spoken, the dreamer had arrived, and the legacy of Alex Eala was only just beginning. Is this the viral moment that will define Wimbledon 2026, or just the first chapter in a story that's only just beginning? Tal Sverkri.